episode of the Book Fix podcast, a podcast that can fix a long-distance relationship one book at a time. I'm your host, Yajaira.
And I'm your host, Cheli. Is this what we are? Is this our big reveal?
I just feel like, we should change it up, like make it fit to whatever we're talking about this week.
Make it fit to our current lives. Oh my God, that's so smart. Oh, you're always one step ahead. I don't know how you do it.
I'm talking about Nick and Charlie, right? But also I'm talking about you and me.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, oh no, yeah, totally. Nick and Charlie, yeah.
Nick and Charlie, yeah.
Weird.
Not me, yeah.
I have like a portrait of you next to me. I was like, no, it's fine. It's whatever.
Dude, I still have your picture as you as a little, not a baby, but you were what, like a toddler? Remember when you gave me that picture?
Oh my God, you're going to have to send it to me again. I think I still have that picture. Oh no, I have a picture of us. I used to have a picture of Yajaira on my phone of this one time she went to go visit me in college and my really fat cat was taking a nap and you're like, he looks so huggable. And you just like, it's just like him looking dead and you're on top of him.
I know, I was smiling and I like plopped myself over him. Obviously it didn't hurt him though, but like I was like hugging him, like hovering over him.
Trust me, at that time in his life, he felt nothing under all that fluff.
Hey, he's super skinny now though.
Yeah,
you had him on a diet. But for his health though, because he was going through a lot.
Skinny legend, king. But hi, oh my gosh, it's been so long. It feels weird because missing a week in podcast time is like missing years.
So missing like a month or 2 months. I don't even know how long we were gone, but
yeah, we were not.
We were not.
Yeah, we were just not. And it felt weird. And we also didn't really talk around that time because both of us got really, really busy.
But you're always on my thoughts, always in my heart, always on my mind.
Always in my prayers, yeah.
We had so many plans for Pride Month, but stuff happened. You got really sick, and now I'm getting sick, so.
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
unfortunately.
I got strep.
Yeah.
Got strep, almost saw God, but then I was like, nah, maybe later. And he was like, all right, chill. So I'm good now.
Yeah, you're good now. Thank God.
Go see your doctors, but like to tie it into what we're doing, let's talk about seeing our loved ones because we're back. We're back to what I've always wanted to talk about. We are going to talk about the Heartstopper novella, Nick and Charlie, written by Alice Oseman. If you don't remember, or if you're new, I guess, hello. Why are you starting here? That's weird. Sorry to bully you. I know
it's not weird. You can start anywhere you want.
Sorry to bully you. Welcome. We did actually film a Heartstopper episode where we talked about Heartstopper season 1 on Netflix, along with the first volume of Heartstopper, because that's what it was about. And we really liked it. One more than the other, but I'm not gonna say who in this table of many queens loves.
When you say one more than the other, and you make it sound like I didn't love it, I did love it. It's just that,
dude,
hold on, no. Let me explain.
Okay, I'm sorry, queen. Sorry, queen. Go on.
Sorry, queen. I'll shut up, queen. When Cheli loves something so deeply, she literally has to like consume it at every waking moment of the day. So you would literally be like on your 40th time or 40th read, whatever.
Yes.
You would be reading it like 40 times a day. And I'm like, girl, are you okay?
Because it's like, yeah, I read it once, but did I read it with like a French accent? Like, no, I didn't. So of course I have to go back.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I read it. But did I read it while telling my cat I love her? Like, no, I didn't. So it's like I gotta go back.
Yes, I read it, but did it read me?
That was the hardest read of all, actually. Yeah, that was
the
my
last
vision
one.
quest. I know. I really, really like Heartstopper, and I remember
really
after we had
Heartstopper.
After we had caught up, we went to a book event. It was like, I think a month after. And that was when I was like, what am I doing? I gotta read Heartstopper on freaking webtoons. I know they're farther. And then that was around the time Alice Oseman was like overwhelmed with like the whole Netflix thing. So they took a break, and I was like, it's okay. It's okay. You take a break. I take a break. And I followed Alice Oseman's Patreon, and I patiently waited for them. And now they're posting again. And
nice.
It's really, really, really good. And then I knew about this novella. I've been meaning to read it because I remember hearing a lot of audio clips from it online. So it's really, really short. I mean, it's a novella. And it's a continuation of Heartstopper. And from what it seems like what is supposed to come after volume 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is canon, right? It's not like a separate thing.
It is canon.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's kind of where the story is headed right now.
Had you just read this, or had you read it a while ago?
I had read this, I think it's been a few months now, almost a year since I've read this. I read it last reading goal year.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a while. But yeah, it's still fresh in my mind and my heart and my soul.
You're like, I can remember everything that happens in this book. But why don't we explain what Heartstopper is even about?
Heartstopper is a love story between two boys who one of them was like there's no way he's gay, but he's bisexual, so surprise. And the other one, he is gay. He came out a while ago. So it's about both of them falling in love. Great. Love it. Go watch Heartstopper and listen to our episode. We covered it really well. But with Nick and Charlie, their relationship has already been going on for a while. And what the issue is that one of the characters, who is Nick, is going to be going to college soon. And Charlie is worried that when they go to college, that they would not be able to
keep the relationship alive.
Yeah, exactly. Like long distance is going to break them. That is his fear. So that is the entire novella of Nick and Charlie and what it's about.
Yeah. And what definitely doesn't help his worry is that one of his close friends actually is going through a similar thing, but they end up breaking up.
Dude, okay. I kind of want to start off with that. I think that's a good place to start because that's near the beginning of the book. We're introduced to Truham's school, which is where Charlie and Nick go. And it's kind of nice to see because Charlie's head boy, and I'm so proud of him because that seems very out of character of the current Charlie and Heartstopper. It doesn't seem like something he would do because he's always been a sidelines type of character. So it's nice to see that he's out here representing his class. And all of the older kids, his boyfriend included, are basically celebrating their last day of school. And Nick is especially excited because he's going to go to a college. It's called Leeds University. And I don't know much about the maps and how far everything is over there, but I know that Leeds is almost a 300-mile drive from where Charlie is. So it's a huge distance from his boyfriend. But Nick is already set oh my God, I'm so excited. I've been buying supplies. Oh, it's going to be so fun, And he's talking about this.
He's definitely excited for his future in this school. And he can't help himself. He'll be talking about it all day, and he'll be telling Charlie, I just can't wait for this and this and this. And Charlie doesn't really say a whole lot. He'll kind of just sit there, and Nick takes this as maybe he's just tired, or maybe he's not he never really thinks that, he has a problem with me leaving. That never really crosses his mind.
And it doesn't really help too, because I've always thought that Nick was very perceptive of Charlie, but Charlie isn't showing him at all. He's no, I'm going to let my boyfriend be happy. It's fine. It's whatever. So he's kind of bottling this up for a very long time. Yeah. And it isn't until his best friend Tao and Elle break up, because they're going to be long distance, where it starts to hit him oh my God, That could just happen? I thought you guys were together forever.
I thought you guys were going to like die together.
When they broke up, it shocked me because I didn't think that would just happen. I was like, oh, just like no conversation. They just.
Yeah, it just happened. Like, I mean, Charlie did mention that Tao and Elle were constantly bickering. Like, that's just the dynamic that they had, that they were just always like fighting. Mm-hmm. And so when he said that they broke up, it was kind of just like oh yeah, it happened. Of course it happened, you know? It wasn't like oh my God, the love of my life, I'm going to miss them. It wasn't like that at all. It was more so of okay, well, that was then, and now I'm going to move forward, and here's the other step of my life. And so because it was taken so nonchalantly, of course, that's why Charlie started panicking. He started thinking like, oh my God, what if this is my future with Nick?
Yep. And it's tough too, because everyone in the world, like in their world, perceives them as Nick and Charlie. Like it's always like the duo. If there's Nick, there's Charlie. If you want to text Nick and he's not answering, text Charlie. Like it's they're together in everything. So he can't even imagine what it would be like to be without Nick. So he starts to spiral, and he's like, okay, well, if this is how it's gonna go, then I'm just gonna self-sabotage. And so he goes to a party with Nick and gets extremely drunk with him. And I think he wants to mess around. Like, I think that's his intentions at first. But Nick isn't really feeling it. He's like, you're really drunk. We need to go. And, you know, you need to calm down. And then Charlie blows up at him. But I don't remember what he says first.
I don't exactly remember the conversation either. But all I know is that he pretty much... Oh, he kind of like... tells Nick, oh, you're just gonna break up with me anyway, or you're just gonna leave me, or he kind of like turns it on him that he's the one that wants to end the relationship. And so Nick takes this as oh, are you trying to end the relationship and you're just trying to like take the coward's way out and make it seem like I'm the one who wants to? So neither of them explicitly says, hey, I don't want to break up. So they take this fight as oh, he's been wanting to break up with me. Or he didn't say he didn't want to break up with me. And so that was their breakup.
Yep. And it sucks because I think Nick goes to the car and oh God, I don't remember who says it, but I'm pretty sure it's Nick when they're leaving and he starts calling him mate. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, mate? And it's like, you never call me mate. It's like, yeah, well, shut the fuck up. And they like separate. And Nick goes to his car and he waits for Charlie for like a really, really long time. But Charlie never comes.
But yeah, they just don't talk to each other for a while after this moment.
Yeah. And oh my God, it's so weird. I've read Alice Oseman novels before. And I love Alice Oseman. You know, I've always loved. But they kind of follow this similar beat where it'll be like very, very close relationship, one big fight, don't talk for 2 weeks. And I'm just kind of like, oh, I was expecting a little more out of this one. Like a little more substance out of this one. Because I really love Nick and Charlie. And I do feel like if they had fought, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like their friends would have been a lot more involved in the fight. You know what I mean? Like a lot more like, okay, I need to go talk to Nick or I need to go talk to Charlie.
Yeah, well, I mean, the friends did kind of try to get involved, but it wasn't like too much. It was more so like, you still haven't messaged him after 2 weeks? I think it was mostly Charlie's sister who got a little bit more involved because she had him tell her like exactly what happened, and then she kind of advised him to, you know, maybe you should just reach out to him and make sure that this relationship is really over. But it was kind of, I know that they're young, but it was kind of driving me crazy how much like Charlie did not want to reach out to him or just wouldn't reach out to him because I think he felt embarrassed, or he just felt like Nick didn't love him because he didn't specifically say like, oh no, I don't want to break up. So it was kind of infuriating that he was so like, yeah, he broke up with me. Like he ended it with me, even though he was the one who started the fight.
It's kind of funny because the characters that she's writing for the webtoon, they're like slowly falling into place with these characters. Like
What do you mean?
They're becoming like the Charlie is becoming this Charlie, and the Nick is becoming this Nick. So I'm like, oh yeah,
that's in the future, no?
Yeah,
like that's more ahead.
There, though. It's almost there. It's really close.
Really?
Yeah.
That is interesting. But at this point of the novella, I can't remember how long they have been together. Is it 2 years?
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
Okay, because they do mention that at this point in their lives, they're just so comfortable with each other that it almost feels boring, but not like in a bad way. It's just that they're so like, they have like this
married.
routine. Yeah, they feel like a married couple.
And like, this is a really short novella, so I'm going to move ahead a bit. They basically, after their breakup, Charlie has all of these photos of him and Nick, because didn't he have like not a Polaroid, but
yeah, it was kind of like a Polaroid,
right? He had a lot of pictures of both of them, and he was so heartbroken because he was like, I don't want this to end. And he does tell Tori that, like, I don't want this to end. And so what he ends up doing is he ends up taking a picture of all of these pictures and texting them to Nick.
Oh, yeah.
But Nick's phone is broken, so he's just getting blank messages. And it's so sad because he gets them, and it's just like, okay. Like, he's not saying anything to me. And so
he's not saying like, anything.
It's not reciprocated in the way that Charlie wanted it to be. But he doesn't know that. So it's like, okay, I need to do something else because obviously this boy, he ain't reaching out to me. And so he's going through this, okay? So he doesn't know what to do. But around this time, Tao texts him and he's like, hey, bestie, sorry that you and Nick are just like, meh, you know. But just want to let you know that me and Elle are good. We talked a lot and, you know, we got really scared of long distance, but we realized that breaking up was a mistake and we really love each other. So, yeah, really hope it works out with Nick boy. Like, he's like,
I love that, though. I love how it's so like, yeah, anyway, sorry I ruined your relationship, but Elle and I were good, actually. We actually kind of love each other.
It's so funny because that's such a long text message, and Charlie's just like, oh, that's so great for you guys. And then Tal's like, yeah, sorry if Elle and I caused some weird drama between you and Nick. I really hope it's cool between you guys soon. If it helps, I saw Nick quickly as he was leaving Harry's, and he was really upset about it. Like, I'm pretty sure there's no way he actually wants to break up with you. So, yeah, they like have that conversation, and that's when Charlie decides to get all these pictures, and instead of texting them to Nick, doesn't he like send him a letter with one of them? And I think it's a picture of Charlie sleeping. Yeah. So Nick is the one who took the picture, and he opens the letter, and behind the letter it says, hey, you take a lot of pictures of me. Do you have a crush on me or something? How embarrassing. If you want to talk, I'll be at Truman Primary School Summer Fete tomorrow, Tuesday at 3:00. Wow, this isn't a rom-com. LOL. I'm sorry for how sappy this is. By the way, I love you. Okay, bye. Dude.
Oh my God.
I know it's not, you know, it's not story of the year. I'll be honest with you. But when I first read this and I got to this page, and even reading it right now, I'm fucking crying. It's so cute how much they love each other. Oh, God.
Yeah, I do think that the letter was a cute thing, and I like that he took the initiative to actually reach out to him and make sure if they were actually going to break up or not, you know, before he went off to school. The only thing that bothered me was that I don't know why Nick was like, oh, I thought my phone just glitched. Like, I didn't know you were actually sending me a text message. I feel like that wouldn't be my first thought. I think my first thought would be, oh, my phone is glitched and I'm not getting your message for some reason.
Yep. I know. He did nothing to even message. And that whole conversation when they sat down next to each other and he was like, sorry, my phone's broken. It's like, oh, yeah, it is, isn't it? Haha. It's like you could have handled that so differently, but you didn't.
Yeah.
So I hated that too. It gave me the ick.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, that conversation felt really awkward. Like them sitting together for the first time. Even fucking seeing Nick walk all the way up to him, I'm just like, oh God, I'd hate to be in this position. I would hate to be Charlie right now.
I know.
I think when it got like cute was when they were sitting and they were talking about the photos.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nick was like, well, can I see them now? And then he takes the photos out.
Yeah, that was cute. That's a nice little touch, like them having these pictures together, especially because Nick would take these pictures of Charlie in like candid moments. So they weren't like posed or anything.
Yeah, and they had moments. They were like, they were looking at it. They were laughing at certain photos. They were serious at like serious photos. They would not laugh when it was them being cute together. And it was really sweet. And when they finished looking at all of them, they got really quiet. And it's Nick who breaks the silence. And he says, I don't want to break up with you. Mm-hmm. And that's where they start saying a bunch of sorries. Like, sorry if it sounded like I did. Same, I have no idea why we argued. Sorry I shouted at you. Sorry I got drunk and made out with you in front of everyone. Sorry I called you a dick. Sorry I told you to leave. Sorry for talking about university all the time. Sorry for getting pissed off that you talk about university all the time. Like, they're like apologizing a lot to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so cute because they're actually taking the time to communicate finally. Because sometimes the miscommunication trope is definitely annoying.
Yeah.
Because this could have easily been avoided. But of course, I understand that they're young and also like this is a big deal. Like one of them leaving off to college is a pretty big deal because so much can happen.
Mm-hmm. And there's this comment that Nick makes twice. And this is the first time he makes it, where when they're having a moment and it gets a little quiet, he says, because they said they don't want to break up with each other. And then he repeats it, but he says, I don't want to break up with you ever. And then Charlie just agrees with him. He says same. And he's like, well, maybe that's stupid. Like the idea of thinking like of forever like that. Like, oh, maybe it's weird talking like that because they're so young. But that's not the only time he like makes a comment like that. So I thought that was really sweet that they see each other in such a like a long-term thing. I think he makes that comment again at the end when they're both sleeping together. And I forget what he says, but it's like, can I set it as my wallpaper? And it's like, wow, it's because they had taken pictures of each other. And Nick had taken a picture of Charlie and he's like, oh my God, you're stunning. I'm gonna make it my wallpaper. It's like, really? You're gonna replace your dogs and put a wallpaper of me? You love your dogs more than me? And then he like admits like, yeah, I love you more than my dogs. I actually love you more than anyone. Is that weird? I'm only 18. And it's like that outside, like they don't really talk about it. Like that both of them love each other a lot to the point where it's like, this isn't normal, right? Like we're there. We're like at the settled point of our lives already. And it's cute that both of them know that they're there.
Yeah, I think it's really cute too because they're aware of how serious this relationship is and has been. And I don't think they ever mention like marriage necessarily, but they do seem that like aware that they want this to be like their end game, I guess.
And that's so sweet.
I just kind of wish that there would have been like more of a communication between like, hey, we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to Tao and Elle, like just because they had issues and broke up and all that doesn't mean that we needed to reflect that.
Wouldn't it be funny if like they were in bed at the very end and then like Charlie gets a text message and it's Tao and it's like, Elle and I broke up again, and she's like, sorry, Nick. Sorry, we can't. Our polar opposite. Our parallel, actually. just broke up. We can't be together.
And that's exactly
God.
why they broke up at the end.
This entire story. That's it, by the way, guys. That was the whole novella. You just read it with us. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause.
Thank you. Woo, we did it, guys. Yay.
It's really quick. It's very sweet. I read it in like one sitting because it's so short.
Mm-hmm.
It just made me feel a certain way because I really, really like Heartstopper. And I love Nick and Charlie. And I loved this novella so much when I read it. But now sitting with it, it felt like it was lacking so much in just like the issue. Like, I understand that their biggest issue was like he was leaving and they didn't communicate and he like Charlie's getting annoyed. But knowing Heartstopper now, like where they're at in the webtoons, you would think they could communicate this. Like, this doesn't seem like the biggest issue they've ever had. This seems like something they would actually talk about.
Yeah, I agree. I felt the same way, that the characters just didn't feel like themselves, especially in that moment when Charlie was drunk and started accusing Nick of, oh, well, you don't want to be with me anymore, or however he worded it. I just felt very like uncomfortable. And Charlie mentioned, like, I forgot at what point, but that something was like gave you the ick. I kind of felt that way too. Like, there were things that were said where I just kind of felt that, like, ugh. Like, why would you say that? Or why would you not communicate with each other? Like, I definitely was expecting a lot more. I kind of wish that this novella was like maybe similar, but still included like when Nick leaves, you know, like what happens when he leaves? Like, are they still good? Like, I kind of wish that would have been included. Maybe like even just like one chapter.
Even if it was like already graduated, they already had this fight, and then us seeing Charlie deal with like the first week without Nick. Like us seeing like how tough it is for them to keep it up. And it didn't give us that. And it sucks because we mentioned it before that Heartstopper itself is very feel good. That although there are issues that happen in the story, it never takes away from you knowing that Nick and Charlie are going to end up at the end. Like they end up together. And even on the cover, I think their original cover, it said on the front that this is a love story. Just to let everyone know, they end up together. It's fine. Like, don't freak out. They're still Nick and Charlie. And I kind of wish that it didn't do that, because I like the idea that although there's such a comfort like couple to be together, it's nice to know that they also have issues. So the fact that this issue was just like I'm not going to talk to you for 2 weeks, but I still love you. Like, I wish there would have actually been an issue that one of them had to legitimately apologize for.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Feel like although they said sorry to each other multiple times, Charlie's behavior was not great. Like, that was really fucked up of him to do. And then the way that Nick responded to him was so rude. But they didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I kind of wish that they would actually have legitimate problems where maybe they couldn't communicate with each other because Nick had to study or something. You know, like, I just wish that there would have been an actual reason of why they felt like they needed to break up, instead of just this whole like, well, you don't want to be with me. No, you don't want to be with me. Because it just feels so insignificant, you know?
It does. Like, this felt like a nothing fight. Like, it didn't change anything in their lives. And they just go back to being normal. I don't know, because it's like nothing happened and they're fine and they're back to being with each other every single day. Nothing's changed. And it's like, okay, but are you good, Charlie? Like, are you going to be good when Nick leaves now? Because it doesn't feel like it. You're still as dependent as you were.
Well, he made it seem like he would be good by not really acknowledging that eventually he's going to leave.
That's bad. That's so bad. Oh, God.
But I do understand that it's supposed to be a feel-good story. And I don't know, but I still kind of wish that this would have had more of a purpose for their relationship.
Yeah, I wish so too. I wish there was growth in the way they thought about each other. But they are already there, like I said. And it would have been cute if they got to that point. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to say marriage, but they could have just been like, I want to be with you forever. Like, I don't see this ending anytime soon. I wish they would have had that type of conversation.
Yeah, I wish that too. Or I wish that their conversation at the end would have just been a little bit more meaningful. Like depicting how they really love each other, and why. Because at the point that we're in the novella, they're already in that, like, oh, we're comfortable with each other. We're old and married pretty much.
Yep.
Like, I just kind of wish that we could see, like, oh, like, why do you guys love each other so much? Like, what is it that you provide for one another besides just, I guess, comfort or that routine?
I know I already said it, but I'm just so upset that the friends didn't do much. Like, I understand it's not their relationship, but everyone is so a part of each other's lives that you would think instead of just fucking texting Charlie, Tao would go to his house. Like, instead of just Alid telling Charlie, like, yeah, they broke up, he would tell, like, he'd be more there and be a friend to Charlie. But it just kind of seems like they were instigators because the story made them that. Like, they were not friends. They just had to be there for plot to happen. And it's like Tao and Alid are so important in Charlie's lives, but none of them went to go help the other. It was just kind of like, oh, they're going through this? That sucks.
Oh, they're going through this? Aw. But you guys are Nick and Charlie, though.
But I went through something, Nick and Charlie, and when I asked Nick for help, both of you came. So I'm a little offended, so I'm not going to help you. So I'm good. Good luck with your lives, guys. Oh,
yeah.
Gosh. It's disappointing, isn't it? Like you expected so much, and I did really like it, but I'm just kind of like, ugh.
I kind of feel the same way as you, where when I first read it, I was kind of just like, okay. I think I did like it overall, but
I loved it.
Sitting with it and then talking about, like, the fact that they didn't really discuss, like, the actual problem. I don't know. It's just kind of disappointing, like, because I do really love the characters and their relationship. Like, I loved the graphic novel. I don't even know how far I got into them. And then the first season on Netflix, like, I really loved them.
You got up to volume 4, dude. You were in it.
I was in it.
Crazy.
But yeah, I just wanted more.
Enough about the novella, because we could talk about this forever. I do think, because I know that both of us still really care about Heartstopper, and you haven't seen the trailer yet for second season. Okay, wait. Let me pull it up.
Oh, they're so cute.
Oh, I didn't see the names of the episodes. Damn.
Oh, wow. 3rd of August. Oh my God.
Okay, not next week. Soon. We're going to have to talk about that.
I'm really excited, dude. Oh my God. I feel like I have to rewatch the first season.
Dude, me too. Okay. Doesn't that make you more... I'm sorry, Alice. Sorry. Doesn't that make you a little more hyped than this book did?
Yeah. Yeah, well, again, like, but there's, like, legitimate reasons, like, if you read the novella, it's kind of a letdown.
It is, but not in, like, the way that you think. We didn't hate it. It's just that with the show, I know that they're actually going to have issues. You know what I mean? Because the show did a better job causing conflict in the relationship. I don't know if you've seen that still, but there's a certain still of Nick going around where he's supposed to be taking, like, a college state test at his school. And because of his name, he was seated right next to Ben or something. It was like their numbers. And dude, they look so fucking angry at each other. And I'm like, yes, this is the drama I'm here for. Like, this is what I want to see.
This is what I've been waiting for.
So it's like I'm excited because I know that the show's going to provide me that. And as much as I love that this is a feel good, I feel like there should be that because at the end of the day, they are a high school relationship. And they're also a gay high school relationship in a place where like this was, I mean, Charlie was bullied for it for a very long time. So it's weird to me that all of a sudden everyone's okay with it. You know, like I expected more issues like Ben or Harry, but that kind of just died down.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted because I do want it to be a feel good, but I also agree with you where since they are a gay high school relationship, they should have issues. Like maybe not with each other, but there should be issues like in the school, just to have, you know, have it be realistic. But I'm really excited. I feel like the trailer just like hyped me up. I'm like so excited to rewatch the first season and to see like what happens because honestly I don't really remember what happens on the
Dude, you need to reread all the volumes. I got you. I got them all.
Yeah.
You need to catch up on webtoons because it's so good right now. You need to rewatch season 1 along with all of my favorite interviews with the actors and actresses. I'll send them all to you.
I think I
do.
I don't
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I don't know if that's a necessity, but
it's so good, dude. I'm so excited for Heartstopper. And honestly, even though this novella wasn't like the strongest thing that I've read, I do recommend that if you like Nick and Charlie, you should read it because it's really, really cute to see them interact. And it's really weird seeing like Alice Oseman's work in writing form. Like I know that they also write, but it's like it threw me off a little bit when I first read it.
Yeah, I know, same. But I mean, I think I'm the same where I think you could still read it and find some enjoyment in it, maybe, hopefully.
So overall thoughts, what did you think about the novella?
I feel like it was really I don't know, because I'm kind of conflicted now. I feel like before I would have said that I still enjoyed it. For me now, I'm kind of like, I feel like it could have been a skip, honestly, but I did like seeing the characters and I'm excited to see like what happens after, you know, this moment exactly. But I would probably rate this like a 2.5 though.
A 2.5 out of 5?
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, I mean, I like the characters, but I just feel like the novella itself, like, could have been handled a little bit differently. Like, if they would have had, like, an actual conversation about the issue of, you know, him leaving and having that long-distance relationship, then it would have been a little bit more worth it, but they didn't really have that conversation. And plus, we don't actually see him. We don't see him, like, you know, leaving or them having that long distance relationship. But there were cute moments in the novella, of course, and I still love the characters, but yeah, that's just kind of how I feel right now.
You know what? I think I would give it the same rating, which is funny because I'm looking back at when I read it on Goodreads and I did write a review and I'll read that one. But
oh my God.
Because it was when I had freshly read it, I was like 4 out of 5. Could have been a 5, but you know, like I was trying to be nice about it because I loved it so much. Yeah. So this was back in December 27th of 2022. I wrote, all my friends know how committed I am to Heartstopper and Nick and Charlie's love story. This book made me ugly sob, and it just made me fall in love with both of them all over again. It wasn't a perfect story, though. I mean, there was not a real threat with their relationship ending, just one fight. And don't get me wrong, I'm still going to listen to Heart to Heart by Mac DeMarco while I reread that Charlie wrote, or what Charlie wrote behind that one picture he mailed Nick. Heartstopper is a comfort story, and I hope Alice Oseman is taking care of themselves, because that's when they weren't. So, that's what I wrote. But now, sitting with it for a while.
I do love that you wrote that. Like, I love that genuine reaction after that. But and I'm not saying that I wouldn't be the same way, like, had we not discussed this, you know? Because I feel like it helps when we talk about things. But
because I go in with, like, I don't know. We've talked about this before. I don't go in with like a rating in mind
No,
when
same.
we talk, but I do
Mhm.
go in with like a certain feeling. And then sometimes you say something and I'm like, shit, I didn't think about that.
Mhm.
Like, that's true.
Yeah, and
So,
I feel like for me, I always try really hard not to be biased, which is hard because we obviously already love these characters. But
mhm.
like for me, I really want to be able to see this as its own thing, you know?
Yep. I
But
get what
anyway,
you
go
mean.
ahead.
Exactly.
How do you feel about it now?
I mean, now it's not a 4 out of 5. I would agree. It's probably like a 3 out of 5. I still really like the characters and I love Heartstopper and nothing's going to stop me from loving Heartstopper. But I just dislike when the conflict isn't genuine. Like it's not really a conflict. These characters could have overcame this not through breaking up. Like it doesn't feel like they would have done that. They would have sat down and they would have talked about it. So I feel like there should have been a bigger threat than just, oh, he's leaving and I'm getting annoyed about it. And I hated that the only thing that really pushed it forward was an external force that didn't even affect them. Like they
Yeah.
didn't even ask how Elle and Tal were doing. It was just like they broke up. Oh my God, what about me? It's like,
What about
go
me?
talk to your friend. Go talk to your friend.
Wait,
So,
you're
like,
so
it-
right.
Ugh. So like it's irritating in that way where it just centered around them. And I understand it is
Mhm.
Nick and Charlie, but like that should have been another aspect that at the end of the day, it's not just them. It's also just Nick and just Charlie. Like that should have been what they
Mm.
gained out of this. They should have gained independence
Yeah.
instead of what they have.
That's a
But-
really good point.
Yeah. But I still really liked it. I would read it again, but I don't think I would when I recommend Heartstopper, I'm going to recommend the webtoons first.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, but yeah, I think I would give this a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Do
That's
you
good.
think their relationship is unhealthy?
I feel like they're just young. Like even when they have like those moments that make me uncomfortable, I'm just like, okay, at that age, there's just a lot of emotions and they're stupid. So
Yep.
I feel like they do have moments where I'm like, damn, that's not healthy. But I do feel like they can overcome it. I just want them to have those conversations. So I think that overall it's not unhealthy. The only thing is I wish that like Cheli said, I wish that they could realize that they have to be okay with just being themselves like individually and not as a pair.
Yeah.
Because that's unhealthy. Because what happens when he leaves? Like, you're so dependent on him that I feel like Charlie's going to spiral. And I'm worried about him.
Yeah. I think Alice Oseman kind of realizes that. Like, I feel like their writing is going in a very good direction currently. So I have high hopes. I have high hopes for what is going to happen.
Okay, good.
But yeah, we'll see. Did you hear, though, that the last volume of Heartstopper, that's the last one? Oh, no. 2 volumes left, I think. Hold on.
What?
I could let you know. They released, I think it is 2 volumes left.
Wait, how many volumes is that in total?
6.
6?
Yeah, because you know how there's 4 current volumes of Heartstopper?
Uh-huh.
The 5th one is going to come out soon because they're about to finish like writing what's going to be in there. And then it's just the 6th one, and I think that leads to the novel.
Oh, wow. Wait, but the novel's not out, or is it out?
The novel's the one we just read.
The novella?
Yeah. The novella. Yeah, that's what it leads to, and I think that's just how it ends. Because I can't see them writing more after that, because that's already, I don't know. It feels weird if they write more after that.
I hope that's not the end, because I don't like that end.
I think it is, dude.
Damn. That sucks.
It does suck.
Because if they're not really communicating at this point, then I'm kind of worried to see like what happens before that. You know?
I mean, I don't want to say much because, like I said, I don't know what's on Patreon and what's not. But
yeah, just don't say anything. That's fine.
Yeah, but just don't give up on it for me, please.
I'm giving up.
I just
Canceled.
need you to I need you to keep going.
I'm just kidding. No, I wouldn't do that. So I love the characters too much.
I don't know if I told you, but remember when Niles came over to my house and she was like, "Can I borrow your Heartstopper comics because I want to read them?" And I was like, "Sure." Even though I read them every single day before I go to sleep, I guess it's okay. And then I lent it to her, and she never read it. She just held them. And I was like, "I'm sorry. If I wanted someone to babysit my books, I would have hired a babysitter." But I ended up getting them back because she never read them, and she was going to move out of her dorm anyway. And I got them back, and I had them in my room, and I was at work, and she texted me while I was at work because she had stopped by my house with my sister. And she was like, "Hey, is it okay if I take the Heartstopper books? Because I didn't get a chance to read them." And I'm like,
oh my God.
Now? Now when I need them most? No. But she didn't. She ended up buying her like own copies, but now she's in. She's like completely in with Heartstopper.
She read it? Or she's reading it?
She's read them all. She's been rewatching the show. She's been watching all the interviews. She read all of the AUs because like Heartstopper has like a Detroit Become Human AU and a Pride and Prejudice AU. And it's like she's caught up. Like she knows. So
damn.
Yeah, it's funny.
You're like, yeah, I've been telling you. I've been telling you to read them.
Yajaira and I, we've been new. We knew it was good. Oh my god,
that's exciting though. I'm so glad that she finally decided to read him. I didn't even know that she was interested in reading anymore.
Yeah, me neither. Sometimes it's funny. I don't know if you feel the same way, but since we started this podcast, like the very, very beginning, I used to talk about reading a lot.
Yeah, same.
My friends. And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm reading this book. You should read it." And I would recommend it with the thought of like, yeah, they'll read it. You know what I mean? But now I don't talk about it at all. I just read on my own time.
Same. And I've noticed that there's definitely been a lot of people who never read before who are reading now. And which is great. Like, I'm so happy. But it's like weird sometimes because I'm like, when I would talk about books or reading or whatever, they would always be like, "How do you have time for that?" Or like, "How do you make time for that?" And now it's like, girl. And they're always reading Colleen Hoover books. I'm like, girl, you're going to start reading. Why are you starting with Colleen Hoover?
Oh my God. That's so funny because at work, they know I read. And anytime someone mentions it to me around like my coworkers that know me, they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, I read too. I've been reading Colleen Hoover." And one of my coworkers, she's so funny. She's younger than me. And she'll just go like, No. Don't mention her mortal enemy. You're not supposed to mention her. I was like, thank you. Almost got triggered there.
That's so funny because I also have a coworker who's way younger than me. And she'll also be like, I forgot why, but we were looking up books and we looked up the entire synopsis of It Ends With Us because we were both like, yeah, we're probably not going to read it. And then funny enough, like we had a patient who came in and was reading that exact book and she came out and looked at me and she was like, "Oh my God, not Colleen Hoover."
Then you like had to kick them out. Like you couldn't tend to them.
No, I couldn't. I could never.
Not with that in your hand. Sir or ma'am, you gotta go.
I'm just kidding. But I do think that it's interesting where Colleen Hoover is so big that that's what everyone, I guess, gets if they start reading again or whatever.
And I agree with you that like after I stopped being so big on like pushing it, you know, I do see a lot of people that read more.
Yes, same. And it's kind of weird because I'm like, really? After all these years?
I know, but it's kind of nice though. It's becoming normal again to read. Like it's not becoming a thing where people have to be like, "Guys, everyone shut up, I'm reading." Like, you know, it's like you don't have to tell everyone. Yeah. It's just like, "Oh yeah, I do this in my spare time." One of my coworkers went on a trip, like a long road trip, and she came over 2 days ago and she was like, "I need to look at your library and I'm just going to grab a few things to read on the road." And she did.
Really?
Guess what she grabbed? It's three things that we've talked about. One of them is a thriller. The other one's my fave, and the other one's our fave.
Well, I don't know how far back to go. Wait, from your library? Like from your room?
Yeah, well, it's in the living room now, but one of them we talked about, and it's a thriller.
It's the oh my god, I know this. Silent Patient?
And I liked it. Yes, she took Silent Patient. That's what she's reading now.
Okay.
One of them's my fave.
Your fave.
You liked it too, but we both cried. You had to like walk out of the room.
What?
You remember we were in the living room and I was reading it and you didn't want me to see you cry?
Oh, Under a Whispering Door. Yeah, I remember
She took that one.
Uh-huh.
And then one of them was an unexpected grab. It has to do with our main redheaded character who we love so much.
These Twisted Bonds? No, these Hollow Vows.
These Hollow Vows.
Oh my god, no way.
Yeah, dude, she took all 3 of those and I was like, oh my god, I love you.
Okay, all of the bangers, seriously.
I know. I was like, you are not going to be bored. And she was like, okay. So she's pretty far into Silent Patient right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes for her.
That one was a really good one.
That is and that's a good one to start with if you haven't read in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or maybe people can just start with our podcast. Thank you so much for listening, guys. If you are listening to us in audio form, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or anywhere you get your podcasts on, thank you so much. It does mean a lot. And I don't know where all of you are coming from, but you're so sweet. Like, if you could please leave a rating of 5 stars and a review, because that actually helps us continue to get exposure. Mm-hmm. So that would be amazing. If you want to push that a little more too, if you could tell your friends, family, loved ones, your enemies, anyone about us, that also helps, because the best type of exposure is through word of mouth. If you are listening and watching us on YouTube, hello. If you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We do post, it's weird to say this now, but we do post every Tuesday and Thursday. So please, make sure you are updated with that, because we'll miss you if you're not here. It's going to be weird.
I know. I'm going to Feel That Void by Melanie Martinez.
Know, me too.
Thank you.
What do they do if they want to support us, but they got like a little bit of extra dinero? Like, what do they do?
So we did start a Patreon, and we had such high hopes for our Patreon. There's so much that we wish that we could do, but because we're limited on time right now, our Patreon just serves as a way for any of our listeners to want to help us if they want to. Honestly, you could just share our Spotify or whatever. That's enough. But if you wanted to do a little bit more, you can help us out on patreon.com/bookfix.
If you also want to join us on social media, we do have a TikTok at The Book Fix, THEBOOKFIX. I think we're pretty funny on there. So if you want to join us there, we're also going to start using our Instagram more this summer. So if you want to join us on Instagram, it is at The Book Fix Pod, THEBOOKFIXPOD. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for being patient, guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
Okay, let's start watching all of Heartstopper right now.
Okay, right now. Can I watch it in 2 times speed, though, so I can catch up and then, watch all the interviews and 0.5 speed?
We have to watch it in 0.5 in order to really analyze the reactions of all the characters. And where are we gonna fit all the time of us talking about how much we love Heartstopper? We gotta slow it down.
Oh, you're so right. And then also, I will be making a PowerPoint of Heartstopper and everything that you might have missed, like all the Easter eggs. Yeah,
oh
they're all in there.
I'm so glad that you're doing that, because I feel like I made my PowerPoint already. But it's
wow.
I'm actually gonna make a PowerPoint off of your PowerPoint. So it's gonna be a second PowerPoint talking about how great your PowerPoint was.
It's like a continuation of my PowerPoint. Yeah. All the things that you missed.
I know. Yes, that was an Easter egg, but if you look below that Easter egg, another Easter egg.
It's like, yeah, you watched it in 0.5 speed, but I watched it in 0.1 speed.
I know.
I'm currently still watching Heartstopper.
I've been watching it for years. Please tell my dad I miss him.